Hey there, LBT Squad. I'm your host, Alex Pop, and you may have seen my most recent review on The Land Before Time 7, The Stone of Cold Fire. I'm here again to talk more in depth about the movie's themes. If you saw my review, you know that I was even more impressed with this movie when viewing it as an adult than when I viewed it as a kid. And the reason for this is because the thought-provoking questions that are left open to the imagination completely went over my head. When I watched it again back in 2012, my jaw dropped. So now I'm here to give my conclusion to these questions. And there are going to be spoilers in this, no way around it. In the movie, Littlefoot witnesses a meteor from outer space that seems much different than the ones that he's seen before. There are these two visitors in the Great Valley who appear to be Gallimimuses, or Rainbow Faces as they're referred to in the Land Before Time universe, who hear Littlefoot's story about what he saw and suggest that he witnessed a stone of cold fire, which is said to possess magical powers, or to contain a message from beyond the mysterious beyond. Being highly skeptical, most of the Great Valley residents, especially Sarah's dad, insist that there's no such thing as beyond the mysterious beyond. The Rainbow Faces asks the question that if they're so sure about that, then why do they consider beyond the Great Valley to be mysterious? Well, that is a question that I've been asking myself for a long time, but not for the same reasons that they're asking. This begins the song titled Beyond the Mysterious Beyond, in which the Rainbow Faces point out that if they know so little, then they can broaden their horizons and consider what could be out there. Littlefoot embraces the idea and is interested in finding out if the flying rock really is as the Rainbow Faces suggest. He gets the chance when he and his friends are on a race against Toronto and his cronies to find out the truth. During the trip, the Rainbow Faces show up multiple times watching the kids. They go from one place to another too quickly to be just on foot. But Littlefoot and the gang find the rock only to discover that it's just ordinary. It seems like a wasted trip at first, but when they get back and Littlefoot meets up again with the Rainbow Faces, they tell him that it was never the stone itself that mattered, but what he did to discover the truth about it. They leave him with the knowledge that there's much more to the great circle of life than he can imagine, and then they disappear as we see a pillar of light where they were. All we see after that is Littlefoot looking up in awe as they sing the reprise of Beyond the Mysterious Beyond. Finally, a ball of light shoots across the night sky and disappears as the Rainbow Faces' echoing voices become fainter and fainter until the evening is silent. So the first big question is, what are the Rainbow Faces really? Here's what we know for sure about them. They're obviously in disguise, they have some very fast way of getting around, and they know a lot about life in the universe, presumably everything about it. It's also clear that they're under orders, because the male Rainbow Face has a habit of almost giving away mysteries that the dinosaurs don't know, and the female has to consistently interrupt him to remind him that that's not allowed. And they planned for the flying rock to land somewhere, and when they see how curious, wide-eyed, and adventurous Littlefoot is, they see the potential in him going out and finding out the truth about it, and receiving the message that they're trying to get across from beyond the mysterious beyond. As far as I'm aware, there have been 3 possibilities brought forward of the true identity of the Rainbow Faces. The first, and most common of these, even one where people have said that this is what they are without a doubt, is that they are extraterrestrials. And in the case of most of the aforementioned criteria, this makes sense. It would mean that the beyond the mysterious beyond that the song refers to is life outside of the Earth. And it's likely that if they have the technology for space travel, that they also may have a way of disguising themselves as Gallimimuses, and when they do so, they join the migrants to go from place to place, looking for someone who has the potential that they eventually see in Littlefoot. One of the stegosaurs in the herd states that they had joined them some time before, so it's possible that as they journey with the herd, for every place they visit, their fellow aliens send a rock from outer space, shooting across the area and landing somewhere nearby. And they keep doing so until someone who witnesses it is intrigued enough to find out what about it seems to make it different from other meteors, and eventually discover the message that they've tried to deliver all along. And it goes without saying that their space travel has allowed them to study many aspects of the universe. In one instance where the male Rainbow Face almost gives away a mystery, he begins to reveal what the stars really are, and in another, he begins to describe something big and black, presumably a black hole. At the end of the movie, this pillar of light that appears is most likely the tractor beam, and Littlefoot is watching as the Rainbow Faces ascend into their spaceship, which then blasts off back to their home planet. However, there is a flaw there. If it's their spaceship that helps them get around very quickly, how do they do so without being seen? Anyone on the ground would most certainly be more suspicious of seeing a UFO than just a blue flying rock. Although there is the possibility that they have a separate teleportation device that allows them to jump from one place to another instantaneously. But if that's the case, then it would have been impossible for them to have kept it hidden while they were traveling with the migrants. It's the only thing that doesn't add up in my mind. The second theory on what the Rainbow Faces really are is one that I read from one or two fans. It's the least likely of the three that I know of, but it's worth bringing up anyway. This is the theory that they're humans from the future. If this is the case, then it's self-explanatory how they know about the stars and how volcanoes work, and they may have traveled back in time to study the creatures of the past. Hey, maybe they transmit brain signals to Gallimimus avatars. But if they've been traveling with the migrating dinosaurs to study them, did they just learn that they tend to be skeptical, so they decided to switch missions? Well, we came to study dinosaurs, and all we learned is that they only believe in the things that they see with the naked eye, so how about we show them that there's more than just the Earth as they know it? A meteor. Let's make up a story out of that. And like in the alien theory, they would need a teleportation device that somehow they kept hidden while traveling with the herd. And it doesn't make much sense that their time machine would fly out into outer space. Unless maybe they time travel the same way as Captain New Eyes from We're Back a Dinosaur story. So in the end, I tend to doubt the humans theory. The last one, though, is the one that I like to imagine. I started to draw this conclusion when considering the line from the song, "If stars can fall and rocks can fly and mountains catch on fire, we can set our sights beyond the sky, or maybe even higher." Beyond the sky, of course, is space, and even higher could just be referring to deeper space, but it seems to evoke the idea of something beyond the realm of the universe. This leads me to believe that the Rainbow Faces are messengers from a spiritual being who has a strong connection with the circle of life, possibly a creator or similar deity. This would explain just about everything. If they are celestial beings, they'd be able to take the form of any living thing, and probably be omniscient. And no doubt they'd be able to transport themselves from one place to another in just the blink of an eye. It's even possible that the Creator sent the meteor down to Earth when the time was right. And at the end, what we see looks more like a heavenly light beam with its shimmering appearance. This is where the Rainbow Faces ascend into the sky, taking their original form, and fly back to the Creator. Another thing that seems to allude to this is that even after they've disappeared into the sky, Littlefoot still hears their voices singing. The only flaw to this theory I can think of is simply how the male Rainbow Face has an issue with remembering to not spill the beans about any unknown answers. It's logical to think that an angel would be more dignified than that. So those are the three theories that I'm aware of, but the other question that may come to some people is, what's the point of the ambiguity? Well, there are more famous movies that have done something similar, leaving the audience on a note of uncertainty. My dad once told me about the haunting experience he had when he first saw James Cameron's Titanic back when it came to theaters in 1997. Okay, if you haven't seen Titanic, mute the volume until the warning disappears. My dad was puzzled at the ending of Titanic. After 101-year-old Rose falls asleep, we see this vision of her younger self walking up the Titanic's grand staircase where she meets up with Jack, and everyone who died on the Titanic surround them applauding. It's unclear as to whether this is a dream she has right before she dies, or if it's her afterlife. But this is just what James Cameron had intended. My dad actually got into contact with him and asked him what the truth of the ending was. Cameron only replied with, "That would be telling." That would be telling. Now where have I heard that one before? So if a movie really wants its audience to think about its main themes, it'll often leave a central plot point, usually the ending, open to interpretation. Like in Lost in Translation, Bill Murray whispers something into Scarlett Johansson's ear that's inaudible to the audience. Whatever you think you hear may determine what the character's relationship is as a whole. And of course, part of what makes Inception so ingenious is that the movie is in and of itself an inception. The ambiguity of the movie's ending literally plants an idea in your mind. So in the case of The Land Before Time 7, The Stone of Cold Fire, It was quite a surprise to see a family movie try something like this. In the grand scheme of things, it's about the mysteries of life and what we still have yet to discover, or may never discover, but we can still make propositions. It may drive some people mad to think about the aspects of life that are unfathomable. If there was nothing before the universe existed, what exactly was that nothing? If there is an edge of the universe, what's on the other side of the edge? What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about? It's mind-boggling, but in the same way that it's fun not knowing what the rainbow faces really are, it can be a wonder to ponder the mysteries of life. It's like Littlefoot says at the end of the movie, there's so much we don't know, but that's part of the fun. But it may just drive you even madder if you go by Raymond logic.
I don't know, maybe that's kind of the meaning of life. Never knowing the answer, but always wondering about it.
So God made us smart enough to know that there's an answer, but not smart enough to figure it out?
Come on!
But the point still stands. I have to wonder, how interesting would it be as humans to be on par with God, to be omniscient, knowing everything about the complexity of the universe, and to know everything that's going to happen in our lives? Doesn't really seem like a life worth living, does it? When you get down to it, the ultimate message of the Stone of Cold Fire is how our lack of knowledge makes living life interesting. And I think it gives us an opportunity to see different points of view. Maybe you thought the rainbow faces were extraterrestrials, maybe you thought they were humans, or heck, maybe you thought they were broccoli the whole time. For me, as a believer in the big man upstairs who designed life in the universe to perfection, I think that's why I'm drawn to the theory of the rainbow faces being angels. Similarly, by hearing the solutions that we come up with to the mysteries of life, it's a great way for us all to learn about each other. So with that said, what do you think the rainbow faces were? Whatever it be, let me know. That's a wrap for now. If you liked this and you want to see more, slap the like button, subscribe for future videos, and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Alex Pop. Catch you later. What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about? Well then, I guess you'd better turn yourself around.